Hello and happy Monday, everyone. I'm Gary Gotzo. Welcome to our coverage of Round 7 of the inaugural season of the ISRA Xfinity Series. We come to you tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Joining me in the booth is my partner all season long, is Mark Murphy. Murphy, before we get started, I know we got about 1 minute and 11 seconds here left to play in qualifications, but I do want to talk about the big move for next week. This will be the last ISRA Xfinity race here on this channel. The ISRA will be moving to FTN Broadcasting next week, and we'll be there for the remainder of the Xfinity series, or season, excuse me. Everything you need to know, where to go, where to subscribe to, what to like, everything is in the description of this video. So all you need to do is just go to the page, subscribe to it, and actually the first 3 races that we'll be having over there are already published, I believe. So you should see right away the Kansas thumbnail, which is on your screen. Make sure to like that and subscribe to the channel, and then hit the notify of the, at the very least, of the broadcast itself, and it'll notify you that individually, or just ring the bell when you do subscribe to FTN Broadcasting. Because that's really all they ask for. They just want your likes and broadcasting. They're doing this for free for us. And then you'll get notifications that way. So there you go. But Murph, welcome to the broadcast. How you doing tonight?
You know, I'd be doing a lot better if I could get my 7-year-old son to go to sleep, but here we are. We are at the improper new High Banks miniature Talladega at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The word tonight is going to be draft. How long can these cars draft together? How long before the tires wear out? They do wear out here. How long until those tires wear out on these cars? And how much are these guys going to be willing to push each other, Gary? Who's interested in doing the tandem, and who wants to kind of lay back and play it safe? We're going to find out. 140 laps of wait. It's going to be interesting. These races very much like a chess match. And so of all the races that we feature here on Race First for the ISRA, in the stock cars, this might be one of the better chances for some of the IndyCar guys to score a dub.
All right. You're coming in a little faint over there, so I had to turn you up. But make sure you're next to that new microphone of yours that the host the host the most hooked you up with.
You know, the host with the most gave me a nice microphone. Not only that, but I can turn the gain up. So is that better?
There you go.
See, it's got all kinds of fun buttons and dials and switches. I have no idea what any of this stuff does. When Gary says I'm too quiet, I got a little knob I can twist to make that better for you. So there you go, my friend.
All right, and let's get into the starting lineup for tonight's 140 lap race here at Atlanta. Pepto Joe on the pole, 176.591. Right next to him is the aforementioned host with the most, Rigney, 175.807. So Pepto Joe, by a long shot, is the only car in the 176 bracket. So awesome for him. Maybe the rest of this field needs to pay attention to that. He might just run away, but still a long race. That's your front row. Richie Hearn, P3, right there next to our points leader, Michael Goodman. Brian Grandin, 5th. Rick D back with us this week. He is 6th. Chris Reagan, 7th. And now Eliza Indirani, hopefully I'm saying that right. Eliza Indirani is P8, lining up there in the 4th row for the 174.6. And again, if I'm saying that wrong, just let us know in the Discord, and I'll make sure to correct myself going forward. Sam Crow, P9, and Big John Von Vorles, P10. Moving on to say hey, Lewis Hayes, 11th. Matty Wagner, 12th. Lionel Callisto, 13th. And I think we got a couple of guys back there with other no speed that just don't show up on my overlay. I believe it's going to be Greg Evans doing the last 2 first challenge, and Alex Guyon also back there attempting the same challenge. Getting ready to go racing.
Heck yeah, noted stock car ace and wizard Matty Wagner. Little last car to take time, 37.030. That has to be deliberate. Callisto, Evans, and Guyon did not take time, so interested to see how they do. I did not get a chance to get a read on tires or fuel before the start of this one, although I would surmise it's not really going to matter. If there was ever a place where we're going to have a caution flag, this is it. Pace car is off, and we are headed for the green flag. Big jump by that front three. They're going to kind of scoot away. That's going to be Pepto, Joe Rigney, and Richie Hearn. Michael Goodman and Brian Grandel are going to be making up they're the first group 2x2, although it's going to be Goodman backing out of that. And really, everybody seems to be content here just to get single file as quickly as possible.
So to just remind you of the rule set, pretty typical rules now. This is a 1.54 mile oval. We are doing 140 laps, which should be right. Oh, when we're spinning.
Richie Hearn's losing it. Did he save it? He didn't hit anything, Gary.
Oh. Let's watch that again.
What a wonderful save from Richie Hearn. I don't know that he's going to be able to maintain the draft. Maybe he just does it. But a gorgeous, gorgeous save from Richie Hearn.
See what happens to Richie here. The back end kind of comes on around. That's what kind of happens here very early in the run here with these cars. And there he is, catching it. Caught it. And not even a kiss.
No, and he stayed in the draft, too. He was able to latch onto the back of Greg Evans and Alex Guyon. And they're running 13th and 14th, respectively. So 15-car field. Richie Hearn now bringing up the rear. He's the caboose, but he is in the draft. And as long as you're in the draft here, the old poker adage holds. You got a chip in the chair. Long race, 140 laps. Richie Hearn going to have a chance to go to back to the front here pretty quickly if he wants to, I think.
Pepto Joe has set that purple lap twice in the first 4 laps. This must be his track.
Well, I think there's a couple of things going on here. The first is you're not able to run away like Pepto Joe is, 1.6 seconds in these cars here, unless the car behind you wants to let you go. And why would a guy like Mike Rigney let Pepto Joe Flanagan go, you might ask? Why would Mike? I think I have an idea, and I bet that idea starts with a letter F and ends with a letter L. They've already started. Richie Hearn, by the way, has already disposed of Say Hey Lewis Hayes. Move him up to 14th. Lewis back to 15th. He'll set his sights on Greg Evans.
Yeah, Lewis is hot off another 500-miler at Indianapolis last night.
Yeah, that was a painful experience for yours truly. bit of net code trouble there. Too.
Yeah,
you can't fault old Edson for that. That was it was getting time. It was getting time for the pay window to open, and the Miller American needed to go, and unfortunately the internet gremlin struck us. But fun race, at least up to that point. I think I was probably worth the price of admission. I drove from the back to the front 3 times.
After telling me in chat, I'm not fast.
I always claim I'm not fast. I tell you every week I ain't fast.
I know, but you always seem to work your way up to the front. That's what a racer does.
Well, they were getting ready to pay the money, Gary. That's what you got.
Look at this pack of cars right here, led by, let's see, we got Big John in there. Then we got noted stock car ace Matt Wagner, Alex Guyon, Greg Evans, Rick D, Richie Hearn, Lionel Callisto. They're all in this group.
Now, the front 7 are more or less running right around the bottom, right on the white line, just kind of saving their stuff. It's really the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 group you're really starting to see some variation. Now, I know it looks like to our viewers that this place is plenty wide. It's certainly got a lot of making. It is not wide at all. This track is maybe 2 lanes wide, 3 if you really, really, really want to get crazy. We saw that 3 wide finish in the Cup Series in real life here. That's about all the wider the track is. And you can kind of see it. You see the 7 there. That's Greg Evans dropped at the bottom on stock car ace Matty Wagner, who was kind of inside Big John. He thought about taking it 3 wide and then backed out of it. Wise move. because there's not really the room to do that in the corners here. You can make it work in a straight line. You just don't want to turn the wheel when you're 3 wide like that.
Riding with Matt Wagner, currently 8th.
Green lap for him, by the way, 31.474 that time. Still nobody in Pepto Joe's zip code, although the host for the most, Mike Rigney, has started to reel him back in a little bit. Brian Grandel, an interested observer, about a half a second behind Mike. Just again, I have to believe that Mike Rigney is saving gas here. I don't think he's pushing. I don't think he's pushing that double zero just as fast as it'll go.
So let's hypothesize here. We'll probably be doing 3 stops, I'm guessing. 140 divided by 4. It's 35 laps. Every 35 laps. That's what the rule or the route that people can take. If you want to do the 3-stopper, if you want to do the 2-stopper, 140 divided by 3, every 47 laps.
I think you're more likely to see the 2-stop than the 3, just because you can't. It's kind of like Indianapolis was. It's kind of like Indianapolis was last night. You can burn a ton of gas and lead, but there's not really any advantage to it. We've seen it even here early. Pepto Joe jumped out to a massive lead. He was up by almost 2 seconds earlier. Mike Rigney stayed within the draft envelope and just ever so slightly reeled him back in. It's almost like you watch the Tour de France and a guy jumps out in the middle of the stage and tries to take off.
Yeah.
And then the peloton just slowly reels him back in. It's kind of like that, right? You can jump out there and burn a lot of gas and lead the race, but there's no real advantage to it because you can't really get away. In other words, if the guy behind you wants to catch you, he can drive right up on your rear end. It's just a matter of do you want to burn the tires? Do you want to use your resources to do that? Do you want to burn the tires up? Because this place, it's Atlanta. It's in the foothills. Same kind of pavement composition as Rockingham, Darlington. It'll burn tires off, and do you want to use your resources, fuel and tires, in order to catch the guy in front? Or do you want to try to outsave him and play the long game?
How about race smarter instead of racing harder?
Well, you got the devil you got the angel on your right shoulder saying, hey, you might want to save your stuff a little bit. You got a long run ahead of you, and the devil on your left shoulder saying, stand on it, right?
Do it. Everyone's doing it. Do it. Do it.
I think I heard that devil a few times last night too, but at the same time, you do. It's definitely a constant mental fight in the cockpit. Do I want to go? I have no doubt, Sam Crow, Matt Wagner, Lionel Callisto, they could flip the switch and drive to the front of this thing in a heartbeat. But what's the advantage to that? Well, the answer is you might not be able to make it in 2 stops. You might melt the tires. They get greasy.
Oops.
You slip and slide and slam yourself out of slip and slide and slam yourself up into the walls. So just take it easy, right?
I'm trying to bring up an Excel spreadsheet here because I want to update everybody on the number of green flag laps we've done here so far. But here is a battle for second as Crandon underneath Rigney.
Yep, and he looks like he kind of backed out of it a little bit.
That high line has a lot of momentum to it, doesn't it?
It does. Now, here's the thing. People who run the high line will tell you it saves tires. My experience is if you run the high line correctly, it'll burn the tires more. What it does do, though, is it facilitates easier passing because you just have such a run at the end of the straightaways. We got Lionel Callisto kind of touching up the wall back there. He adjusts his car on the wall.
Ooh. Wagner was a little squirrely on that one. But Callisto down to the inside.
They're starting to loosen up. That's the corner that you work the most here is the right rear, especially if you're running that high line like the stock car ace Matty Wagner is. You loosen the thing up. So, if you're tight, if you have understeer, run the high line because it'll loosen you up. You drive more off the right rear. You run the bottom, you burn the right front more. But the high line doesn't really save tires. What it does do is it facilitates a little bit of fuel save because you have to back off earlier to make the corner. But it also gives you a massive run down the straightaway. So if you really want to get by the guy behind you who's pulling to the high side, it's almost impossible to stop it. We're going to see a lot of that next week in the VOR in the VOR IR18 race at Texas,
which will actually be broadcasted by the FTN guys. They will be in the booth for that one. I'll be doing the IIS at Laguna Seca next weekend at the same time.
There you go. You should get a bet. You should get a game of chance going with David over how close I get to the wall. We talked about that. You and I and Jesper, about the different styles that he and I have. Both of us love it. Both of us are completely polar opposites. He's going to be hooking the white line, and I'm going to be somewhere as close to the turn 2 sweets as possible.
Matt's decided to let him go. He said that's a little too hot for him. Maybe he wants to let those tires warm up. A number of guys have started to fall into the back. John Von Vorellis, he has as well. Eliza Idriani, I think I seen that night. Idriani, they have fallen to the back there. I think they're just pacing. Everyone's just kind of pacing themselves now as we're getting into one of those long, patented green flag runs. Pepto Joe is still your leader, and he's bumped it back up to a 1.5 seconds now over Grandin.
Now, he has the advantage. Pepto Joe does, because he's in clean air. So he's not wearing the tires nearly as much. These stock cars may have the aerodynamic property of a garbage truck, but they still have aero. And what aero they do have, they need to get a car on pit road. That is
Michael Goodman.
Yeah.
Very early for our points leader. And while he is coming to pit road, let's bring those points up just really quickly here.
Kind of missed his pit stop. Pit.
Oh, we know that he'll hit it here, but good. If he doesn't, he doesn't want us to show it anyways. Michael Goodman has a 1-point lead over Callisto, 2-point lead over Wagner, and a 7-point lead over Sam Crow. That is your top 4 in the standings.
Indeed. Now, interesting, Michael, I did not see that car go up on the jacks, Gary. I did not see it go up on the jacks. So what that tells me is,
up here. We can go back and watch it. Here we go. Let's go back and watch it. It's fine. We can do that.
Let's take a look. Now, just because I didn't see it didn't mean it didn't happen.
And we can actually probably get a better, here we go, get a better shot of him coming down pit road. 25 of 140 in the books. I think my spreadsheet that I tracked all that stuff on is on another computer, and I haven't uploaded it to the cloud yet, but I have a screenshot of the numbers that I can get everybody on the broadcast, just how impressed we are with. It slides through a little bit. Comes up short, actually. See, he probably didn't want me to show that. Comes up short again. And a couple of, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I should have shown this.
It looked like gas only to me. It really did look like gas only to me. Maybe he's having trouble with his steering wheel, or some sort of a computer issue.
Definitely did not go up on the jacks though.
No, and look, at a track like this especially, the undercut can be extremely powerful, because what happens is, let's say everybody else is saving fuel. Well, Goodman now has no fuel concern, so he can go out and run absolutely as hard as he can. He's kind of
here comes Greg Evans, by the way. He has moved up to 4th.
Yeah, but what he's doing is if he doesn't spin the thing out, which he darn near just did, but he's latched onto the back of Eliza Indriani, so he's safely ensconced in the draft. And if he's able to keep up here, theoretically, as these other guys fall off, he's going to be in position to make up quite a bit of time, theoretically. You'll see this. You'll see this
ahead.
move a lot. You'll see this move a lot at the super speedways that we run in the open wheel cars. Michigan, California, Indianapolis, especially. If a guy can get out, if he can short pit you, and stay with the lead group, you can make up a ton of time, such that you're
Greg Evans, P2.
You're able to essentially profit off the draft. And when the other guys come to pit, you've made up a bunch of time. Now, it doesn't help if you hit the wall like Goodman just did. It makes me think he's having some kind of an issue, because he was wicked loose coming off a 2 a couple of laps ago. But maybe this is one of those situations. You only got two sets on the wall. Maybe he's thinking he wants the tires late. We got more cars coming to pit road now.
Rick D on pit road. Just him after last week. Greg Evans up to P2. Chris Reagan now battling Grandin for second. So those that want to do the 3-stopper, their window is coming up here in about 5 laps. Those that stopped early have had some sort of issues. Are going to have to save here late.
Either that or there's, they figured it's 3 stops, but it's 2 full stints and 1 short one. And so they're doing their short one now with no tires. We saw this earlier this season, if memory serves. We had a lot of guys leave it to late, but we had a group that made their fuel stop early, banking on no cautions, and they were at the front at the end because they had tires and everybody else was double stinting tires deep.
So during the truck series that we ran, which was only 8 weeks, just to give you an idea of how good these guys run and how that chances of seeing a caution are very slight, although I just jinxed it. If we look right here with the number of laps, you can mark me down at 32 by jinxing it right there at lap 32. But during the truck series, we had 8 weeks, and we ran a total of 885 laps, only 44 of which were under caution. There were 15 total cautions during the truck series season. So that means we had 95.028% of the racing or of the laps turned were green flag laps. So that was just trucks.
Yeah, if you're going to gamble on a caution saving you, this is not the series. This is not the series for you. Chances are it's going to run caution free. If it doesn't run caution free, chances are there's just going to be one, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. Larry Max.
Brian Grandin's struggling right now. He is falling to the back.
Yeah, well, and the lap times have fallen off a lot. Larry Mack's book of predictions, his past trends, it doesn't hold for this series. Even if there is a caution, you're not really ever sure when it's going to come, and usually it's random. It's one guy loses it, slaps the wall, and it's not a big accident. The pace, by the way, has fallen off almost 2 seconds for Pepto Joe. Greg Evans is going to be there in a lap or 2. He has sliced that down into 4/10.
Yeah, Evans up 12 spots, just doing what he did last time. Won 3 straight in the series, looking for his 4th straight. You can see Joe the right rear is very slippery for Joe as he was going through turn 2. You can see the back end dancing around there.
Yeah. Now you'll notice you can see the flames out of the pipe, coming out the pipes of Greg Evans. He is lifting substantially here. You can run flat out, like I said, about 20 laps? 20 laps, about when we started to see him slide around. Pepto Joe a full 2 seconds off of his pace. Greg Evans 0.2 of a lap quicker. And then what do you do now? You're Greg Evans. Do you slow down and ride around in the draft, try to save some gas? You want to go lead this baby?
I would say he's going to go lead this thing. He's going to go on the outside here. Check it out. Greg
Evans right up next to the wall. Good grief! You couldn't have fit a Post-it note between him and the outside fence. And he gets up there. He winds it up. He's going to fire it up toward the wall in turns 1 and 2. Pepto Joe's going to stay right around the bottom. He should clear him here. Coming around the back, and he does.
He does.
Now all that's done is let Chris Reagan get up here to this fight. he's come from a second and a half to 8/10 back.
Up 4 spots, Chris has. So far, not including the laps we're turning right now, we've turned 840 laps in the Xfinity Series after 6 weeks. We've had only 3 cautions all season long for 14 laps. So we have turned an unbelievable amount of green flag laps at 98.351%. So 98.3% of all the laps turned here this season so far in the ISRA Xfinity Series have been green flag laps.
Yes, they are. Mike Rigney was on the radio, the host with the most on the radio just now. I think he's contemplating a dash toward pit road. Might be a little bit soon. I'm sure he'd like to get somewhere closer to lap 50 or so to make it work. By the way, if you are Michael Goodman and you stop, we got to yell.
Caution. Oh, and it's Rick D and Adriani involved.
Noted stock car race, Matty Wagner talking about how somebody threw the roll bar pad out on the racetrack.
Oh, and I think what happened is Adriani, I think, may have hit the wall and bounced off it.
You know, and that's really easy to do. It looks, you know, you get a viewer at home saying, "Okay, well, why in the world would you hit the fence coming down the dog
Oh, and
leg?"
it looks like they grabbed a little bit of the apron too, got a little loose. That's okay. It happens before. That's going to open up the door for Rick D to get a run.
Yep. Now they kept it rolling, so nobody loses a lap. We're gonna have it. Well, Adriani did. Does Rick D keep it going?
Trying to get a better angle of.
Rick D had to tow, so Adriana obviously going to use his fast repair here. Rick D is going to tow it. That's pretty much.
This might be the best angle right there. It's not really a good angle, but.
And Rick D is going to disconnect and retire from the race. But what I was getting at, Gary, was it looks easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You come down through there, all you got to do is just make a couple of slight lefts. On old tires, especially going through the quad oval at Atlanta, Charlotte, or Texas is one of the hairiest things you can do because the car gets really, really light.
Light through there. Yeah. Even an IndyCar gets light through there. Not just the trucks, the Xfinity cars, but Indy cars also get light through there as well.
I would submit the open wheel cars are worse because you're running so much weight jacker to make the car turn in the corners that if you don't stay on top of the tools and you have oversteer dialed into the car, it'll snap loose going through the quad oval here. In the old configuration of Atlanta tires, you would actually have to counter steer an open wheel car through the quad oval because the tires get so chewed up you'd have no grip. But everybody on pit road,
everyone down pit road. Matt Wagner is out as the leader, and for the first time since Charlotte, the early stages of Charlotte, I believe, we are under caution here in the ISRA.
I've got a shiny new dime, Gary, that says the stock car race took gas on.
Probably. We'll see.
You know, it's going to hurt him in the short term. It's going to hurt him bad in the short term. But it's going to mean that he saves that set for later. There's no way they're going to go 100 laps on 2 more tankfuls. So, you know, for the stock car race, it gets him up in the lead. He gets a little bit of TV time. Magnificent looking car as always, and it gets him a chance to lead the race. Now he's going to go the back like a stone. But after about 20 laps or so, those tires are going to equalize, and he's going to have he's still got both his sets sitting on that pit wall, and that's a huge advantage for him as it gets down to money time.
Well, just less now than 100 to go.
Now we saw guys coming into pit. Before that, and they had enough.
And now comes Matt to pit road.
maybe that's the I forgot.
We'll see
It's
when
okay,
he
man.
we'll see when he hits his stall what happens. Yeah, there's
Yep,
a
there it
car
goes.
going up. There it is. So tires are going on now. Just another reminder to everybody. Thanks for joining us, first of all. Make sure to like the video. But next week, this is the last race for the ISRA on this channel. So we are going to be moving the ISRA next week to FTN Broadcasting. The link is in the description. I believe they've even posted the first 3 races of our coverage over there on FTN. So what changes? Very little. Very little is going to change. It's going to still be me and Murph here in the booth. Most of the graphics, in fact, all the graphics, the overlay is going to be the same. Everything, the drivers are going to be the same. Hopefully we'll have some new drivers that kind of show up as we recruit during the year, but nothing should change other than that it's just going to show up for the remainder of the Xfinity season. So that's through the final race of the season at Talladega, which is going to be August 5th. As we are now lined up 2x2 for a rare restart here.
That's right. So in a twist off the old saying, it's the same. It's a different channel. Don't spin the tires, boys.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Well, I thought
really
Reagan was going to get in the
easy
back of Evans, but he stays out of it. But and partially that hurt his restart because everyone is just checking up behind him.
That's right. So in a twist off the old saying, it's the same bad commentary team, just a different channel.
Yeah. Same bat time, different bat channel.
Who knows about the bad channel? I don't know. We'll see.
Bat channel, not bad channel. Bat channel.
Bat channel.
I just dated myself. I don't know if you know that reference when the old Adam West Batman show before they would always every episode was a cliffhanger, right? So you're like, join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Here comes Lionel Callisto getting a big run off of turn 2.
I'm more of the Michael Keaton Batman.
I am too. That's kind of the only reason I watched the Flash movie. Speaking of the Flash, Greg Evans, holy cow, already off to a half a second lead over everybody.
And we've seen that though, Gary. We've seen that.
Here comes Lionel Callisto. I don't think we've seen these two go direct head-to-head. And here comes Callisto. Big run off of 2, down low, down the backstretch, and he's going to cruise on by like Greg is standing still. So I think this might be more of a Greg Evans, his approach to these corners. Easy in, fast off. Looks like Callisto is deciding that he is just going to leave it full send on everything right now.
Well, and that's the thing. You can see Callisto not lifting out of the throttle. It's one of the great things about stock cars. There's the visual, Gary, the flames coming out the pipes whenever you lift off the throttle. Lionel Callisto not lifting. Greg Evans is, and so I don't see flames coming out of Callisto's car. But I see him coming out of everybody else's. And that
I see
tells me
flames on the side right now as he is burning up the racetrack.
it might be coming out the back, but they're going to be coming
Richie
out those
Hearn
roads.
too. Here comes Richie Hearn.
There you go. So he breathed it just a little bit.
Hey, Greg Evans is falling back to 6th now 7th.
Yep.
This got to be a
That's all.
planned descent.
It is. It's not a got it. It is. One of the great things about Atlanta, just like Rockingham, just like Darlington, there's comers and goers. Right now, Lionel Callisto is definitely a comer. Is he going to be a goer later? And what lesson is he trying to learn, maybe? I mean, you still got one more run. Maybe he kind of figures, see exactly what the limits are here, see exactly how hard I can run this car and kind of file that information away. Lionel's a very, very smart guy. He reminds me a lot of me or Jesper or Shadid, kind of one of these very calculated guys who treat the first half of the race almost as a test session.
Yeah.
So you know what you've got later. Speaking of that, did you guys pick up, and I don't know if you did, pick up the very different ways Saturday that Orman and I were attacking the corners there at Homestead. Did you guys pick that up?
No.
It was kind of funny. There was a discussion afterward about the setup, and yes, where I, of course, had no problem with it. And he actually went so far as to release to the entire field his telemetry.
Yeah.
In the Ford Discord, and we got to looking at it, and I said, man, I said, you ought to release mine, because we drove the cars completely differently. And it was hilarious that we were setting exactly the same lap times, almost lap after lap after lap after lap. It was incredible. Here, you're not going to have that variety so much late in a run, because to make speed here, you don't lift.
Right.
And the car just simply won't take it. We're 11 laps in. Callisto has already moved up to the wall. He's already lifting out of the power a lot more. He goes to the bottom that time because I said
1.8 seconds, now 1.9 over Hearn.
That's right. So he was able to stand on it for what, 10 laps and get that big lead.
And here's Big John. He's back at this. He's right on the backside of Sam Crow. And Alex Guyon is up there with the battle.
Yeah, kind of keep an eye on this Hearn-Grandin battle here. There's 4 tenths. Grandin is just ever so slightly faster than Richie Hearn. Both of them running the bottom. It's kind of interesting to see how that plays out. We know Richie Hearn is fast. He hasn't been the fastest, though, over the long runs. We've seen him go to the front, and then over the course of a long run, he tends to fall to the back in the stock cars a little bit. So how's that going to work out? Is he going to be able to stay up there?
Once again, just want to remind everybody, this is the last ISRA Xfinity Series race on this channel. Next week, it will be on FTN Broadcasting. Link is in the description. Starts the same time. We'll have probably the same lineup, maybe an additional driver or so. But it'll be me and Murph, the same overlay, the same random, pointless banter. You name it, everything will pretty much be the same. It'll be on a new channel, though. So you want to check that out. You want to look for, over on that channel, you want to look for this thumbnail right here. I'll put it up on the screen. Boom, there it is. That is for the Kansas race next week. It'll be on FTN. Subscribe over there. Hit the bell. Get notified when the races are put up. He put up the first 3 today. You can hit the notification on each one of those already, so you don't forget. At FTN until the middle of August, when the Xfinity Series concludes. And I think by then we will have a new channel for everybody to come to.
It's always an exciting thing. New stuff is always fun, ain't it, Gary?
Yeah, just directing people to the right spot so the stuff can be watched.
I don't think we're going to have that problem. What I do think, though, is Lionel Callisto is going to have a problem. Richie Hearn has closed that back down to 1.2
Yeah,
seconds.
1.2 seconds.
He's bringing Brian Grandin along with him. You've got another 1.6 back to Big John and that group that's running 4, 5, 6. But I think Callisto went out there and he run the tires off the thing, and you can kind of see it. He's starting to slip and slide now. 25 laps almost into this run.
Yeah, well, it's going to be 17 laps on this run.
Yeah, well, they had a couple of those under caution, so call it 15. But he ran really hard, got himself out to a big lead, and ever so slightly, Richie Hearn and Brian Grandin creeping back into this thing.
Meanwhile, Greg Evans checking on him. Right now, all by himself at the moment in 10th spot. And
to me, that reeks of being planned.
Yeah. Well, let's see how it comes together for him. We got a couple different strategies going on right now.
Kind of the same with Matty Wagner, say Lewis Hayes, kind of doing the same thing. You know, those guys don't really run hard unless it's necessary. Right now, it's not necessary. I think Greg Evans gained all the information he needed to gain from earlier, so he's just going to kind of hang out and run his deal and maybe save some gas. You know, stock car ace Matty Wagner, known for saving his stuff. Say Lewis Hayes the same way. He was nowhere in that Dark Horse 500, by the way. And what did he wind up running?
Oh, Wagner or Hayes?
Hayes. What did it say?
Hayes, he was 7th.
Yeah. So see, he wound up with a good finish, and he was nowhere for most of the run. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's kind of what these guys are known for. Say Lewis Hayes got really loose, by the way, right there following
Idriani.
Yeah. Andriani. Another part we haven't talked so much about today, and normally we are talking about a lot of these broadcasts. Sam Crow, very quietly 6th. He's working underneath Alex Guyon right now. Move him up to 5th. But he has been very, very, very quiet today, Gary. Almost a Mearsian performance this far.
Mearsian. Rick Mears, this was one of his favorite places when the Indy cars were still running here back in the, when this is the old 1.5 mile real oval. I think he won like 3 times here.
You know, it's fun that you mentioned that. I actually came to a race here when it was the old configuration, the spring NASCAR race in 1991, if memory serves. We made the drive down from Southern Indiana. A lot of people don't realize Southern Indiana is the same distance. It's the same distance from my hometown in Evansville, or near Evansville. It's the same distance to Atlanta as it is to Chicago. Mm-hmm. And so not only are there a lot of Braves fans down there, but it wasn't too much of a stretch to drive to a race in Atlanta. It was, you know, back in the day, there were no interstate links between the southern part of the state and Indianapolis.
No. That's more of a very recent thing. You know,
a good friend of mine, outgoing Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, and I had a chat at a function about 5 years ago, and she wasn't the Lieutenant Governor then, of course, but we had a chat, and she knows my mom, and so she was asking me, you know, what I was doing and why I was living in South Bend. And I asked her, you know, when are you going to have I-69 finished? Because they started building that thing in 2000 or so, when I was a senior in high school. I went to Ball State thinking that it would be done by the time I graduated. It'll be my 20th college reunion here in a couple of years, and it's still not finished.
No, it's been done in chunks.
Be that as it may, though, it really illustrates there really was no good way for people in the southern part of the state to get to Indianapolis. So it was actually almost as easy for us to get to Atlanta or Nashville than it was to get to Indianapolis. Nashville, for most of my life, was a closer drive than Indianapolis.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, Nashville from Indy is about 4 hours.
Right, for us it was 2.5.
Yeah.
So, you know, 2.5. So it was easier to get south than it was north. And when we came here, I was 10, what was I? 9, 10 years old. We came here with my dad, my brother, sat in the front stretch grandstands. It rained horribly. We wound up staying, and I cannot remember. I cannot remember who won that race. I want to say Schrader won it, but I can't for the life of me remember who won the race. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Well, back when this was a 1.5 mile true oval, IndyCar did come here. In fact, IndyCar visited. Ooh, Big John, a little contact with a guy on the inside there. IndyCar actually started coming here back in the 60s. In fact, I think the very first race was won by Lone Star JR, Johnny Rutherford. won the very, very first race here back in 1965. They came back the next year, and Mario Andretti won that, and then they didn't return again until 1978. Rick Mears won that race, and then in 79 it became part of the kart schedule. So 78 it was part of the USAC schedule, then the kart schedule in 79, where they had 2 races, a doubleheader weekend here, and Johnny Rutherford in a McLaren, when he was driving for McLaren, won both races here. So John Jr., Lone Star Jr. has 3 wins here. He has the second most IndyCar wins out of all the IndyCar races ever held here. And then Rick Mears went on an incredible run starting in 79. No race here in 80, but 79, 81, he won the doubleheader. And at 82, they only had 1 race here. He won all of those races, won 4 straight. And this was really Rick Mears' house for the longest time. I mean, he made wins look really, really easy here. And then IndyCar did not come back until they redesigned the track into what you see right now, not this current version. And they returned 98, 99, 2000, 2001. That those races did not draw very well. And then since they've redesigned the track yet again, this track's had more redesigns than I think Homestead has now. Guano Callisto, a little twitchy there off the corner. We are now 30 laps in, so a lot of you guys are going to start thinking about pit road here soon. I doubt we'll ever see IndyCar ever return back to this track under its current configuration.
No, I don't think so. A couple of things worth mentioning. Atlanta has a long and colorful with IndyCar racing not here. Originally, they raced in Atlanta at a place called the Atlanta Motor Drum.
The Board Speedway, yes.
The boards, right? The original winner
back
in May of 1910.
Yeah, back at AAA when AAA was sanctioning the race.
This might have been before AAA. Well, it would have been AAA.
It would have been AAA.
Interesting trivia question. The original winner of a race in Atlanta, none other than Ray Haroon and Amar.
Not the Mormon Wasp.
Not the Wasp, but in a Marmon. Ray Haroon, of course. An engineer for the
Okay,
Marmon
here's pit stops happening right now. Chris Reagan on the pit road. Oh, did he get speeding there?
No black flag for Chris Reagan, at least showing up on my race control screen, so that's good. No black flag for Chris Reagan. I apologize. I'm choking to death. The other place that held races was Lakewood Speedway. So anybody that's ever seen Smokey and the Bandit, at the end of that movie, there's a dirt track race. The entire plot of the movie revolved around Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed hauling Coors beer into the Southern Classic. Well, that race was being held, and the race picture was the Southern Classic at Lakewood Speedway. Mile dirt at the fairground.
Long hold for Chris Reagan, so it looks like he did get a hold.
Maybe he did get it, and it just cleared when he started serving it. But winners at Lakewood included Ted Horn 4 times, Bill Holland, another Indianapolis 500 winner in 1946, yeah.
So Ted Horn, though, for anybody that doesn't know anything about the history of IndyCar racing, if you ask me for who are the 4 heads that you would put on the Mount Rushmore of IndyCar racing, he is that important to the sport, and he is that integral to the sport. He never won an Indy 500, but his finishing record at Indianapolis was very, very good. And unfortunately, like a lot of other drivers during that time, died in an accident well before his time. But he would be the first head I would put on the Mount Rushmore of IndyCar racing would be Ted Horn.
A colorful character too. Drove the same out of the same Maserati stable for Shaw for a number of years. Raced for the colorful Mike Boyle, noted Chicago union representative, shall we say? But he won here 4 times. Ted Horn did on the dirt. Another winner on the dirt here, USAC Championship cars, Eddie Sachs. And
Rigney done with his stop. It looks like he'll have one more to go after this.
The other bit of trivia that I would impart is I believe that Lakewood Speedway hosted the only NASCAR win by a Cadillac. Al Keller, 1952 on the dirt at Lakewood. So a long and rich history of racing here in Atlanta, various places. This has been the home of it too. The two things that I would say about this, I very much preferred the original. Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Think Homestead, but wider and higher banked. Just a fabulous track.
You could race it in the original NASCAR Racing 1 at Papyrus Main. And if you had IndyCar Racing 2 and the track converter is still out there, you probably can already find the track already converted. You could race I would say the beginning of the modern era IndyCar. Oh man, look at Rigney right around the outside of Callisto with new tires. Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable what new tires here do. I really do, and I'll lobby for this if anybody from iRacing is out there watching. They've still got those old files. I mean, I'm sure they'd have to be cleaned up. Still got the files. Give us old Atlanta. Give us Ontario, Riverside.
They could definitely. I mean, you could definitely. I think old Atlanta. Even let's get back to another discussion that we've had before about what tracks we would like to see, and then some of the excuses that iRacing kind of gives. And I don't want to say excuses as a negative thing, but this is what. Well, we don't want to have official races on a track that's not actually laser scanned. Then don't hold official races on it, but sell it to us because there's a lot of people that would buy it. And the old Atlanta Motor Speedway was in NASCAR 1, and you could you could convert it to IndyCar Racing 2 and run a 95 Honda Renard Firestone at that track and turn laps easily in excess of 220 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's in NASCAR Legends, which is another forerunner to iRacing.
Mm-hmm.
As is Ontario and Riverside. You're right, okay, but they have where that kind of falls apart is they have official races Speedway.
Yeah, well, they have been having that at the iRacing Super Speedway, so whatever.
Yeah, Lionel Callisto just about lost it off of 2 over there. By the way,
yeah, we would kind of watching him, and Sam Crow is up on him now. This is a battle for first. I would suspect that, and the side of Callisto's car is not looking very fresh. So he is coming to pit road. Yep, coming to pit road. Now if he get down, no speeding. I think he made it.
Yep, and that's going to leave Sam Crow with a big-time lead over Brian Grandin in second.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds.
Alex Guyon, 2.5 seconds back. Richie Hearn, 2.7. Right now, Sam Crow is about a tenth of a second a lap clear of everybody but Richie Hearn.
So going back to watching as we're preparing for pit stops, going back to Ted Horn, he was here comes someone is coming hot on the pit road. I'm not sure who that is. That might be Guyon. If he didn't speed, I don't know. And he's done. And he toes.
Yeah, that's
Adriani on pit road coming off right now.
That's unfortunate.
Callisto coming off of pit road. It's so easy to do when you're going so fast for so long.
It is so easy. So easy to lock the rears down here. It's just, it's fantastically easy.
We got Hearn on pit road, along with Big John. But I was getting ready to say with Ted Horn, he won 3 consecutive national championships in 46, 47, and 48. And until AJ won his 4th, he was the career leader of champions in IndyCar history up until that point when AJ finally won his 4th.
Yeah, and the other thing about Ted Horn,
he was the king before the king.
He was. He also owned for a long time the best 3 or 4 year consecutive, the record for the 3 or 4 consecutive years of best finishes at the Indianapolis 500.
You want to hear what those are? I have the page here. And I should memorize these. So he managed in 34 not to qualify. 35 he qualified and finished 16th. And then from 36 to 48, The worst finish he had was fourth place. From 36 to 48, his worst finish was fourth. He had a second, a third, 3/4 in a row, 3/3 in a row, and 48 he ended up with a fourth, and then unfortunately he died later that season, I believe.
But that was a record for a long time,
Yeah.
41 through 48,
Yeah.
third, and fourth. That was only eclipsed.
I think you have coming up on it here, at least someone that's remotely close, is Ferrucci.
Well, it took until the late Dan Weldon.
Weldon had a good run,
Good.
and Allenser Sr. had a very good run towards the end of his career.
Correct, but it was Weldon that finally beat
Yeah.
it because Weldon had 3 seconds and then a win.
And I think Ferrucci is your active leader, and he's done. He's the first to start his career 7 straight races top 10. Santino Ferrucci, I think, is what the record is there. But if anybody goes back and wants to put the first head on the IndyCar Mount Rushmore, Ted Horn needs to be the first head, and then you could probably the second and third head very easily could be Foyt and Andretti, and I would say, and this would probably upset a lot of people, the fourth head's probably Dixon. But, I'll just stick, everyone keeps picking the 4 Indy 500 winners, but there's a lot more to IndyCar racing than just Indy 500, although IndyCar and Indy 500, that name goes hand in hand, but there's still another history out there of other tracks and other racers that helped kind of put the sport on the map, and Ted Horn is definitely one of those and very underappreciated. Richie Hearn right now in 7th. Wagner is our current leader. Matty Wagner, stock car ace, is on pit road.
And I almost said that, Richie Hearn may have experience with the transition. The transition very Gary, by the way, from the banking to the flat as you come to pit road, and that creates the problems. I almost said, it was on the tip of my tongue, Richie Hearn probably has some experience with that transition. He does not. Richie never raced here, which I found quite interesting. In that he never came here as a driver. The stock car ace is gonna get himself off of pit road. Don't cross that white line, Matt. Keep it down there on the bottom. Of course, still in the Rocket Man Ryan Newman foil paint scheme. Looking good. South Bend, Indiana's own Ryan Newman.
Yeah, Greg Ray won the last 2 races here in 2000, 2001. This was kind of a good racetrack for Team Menard.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say about Atlanta in this facility, they call it Atlanta. They almost should call it Macon Motor Speedway. I think it's closer to Macon. It's in. Heaven help me, the name of the town. Hampton, Georgia.
It's Hampton is the town where if you were to send something to it or something like that, yeah.
But it's almost closer to Macon than it is. I mean, it's really, well, until very recently, it was in the middle of nowhere.
Greg Evans is back to your leader. He stopped at lap 71. Now 21 laps into his stint.
And he's got 8 laps over Pepto Joe. He's got 10 laps over Michael Goodman. Goodman has that extra set of tires, remember. He took gas only on his shortstop. Of course, the caution wiped that away.
There's Pepto Joe in 2nd. Michael Goodman 3rd. Grandin and Sam Crow in a battle. Grandin's been up in the top 5 pretty much the entire day. Rigney and Callisto running side by side, coming off at 2. Rigney gets the position, move him up to 6th. Callisto 7th. Say hey, Lewis Hayes is in 8th, very quietly working his way up to the field. Hearn in 9th. Wagner in 10th. Iridani in 11th. Big John in 12th, and Chris Reagan is in 13th.
Now, I think that Greg Evans here, Pepto Joe, Michael Goodman, I think these guys are going to go. They're going to try to get themselves in so that their next stop is the last one. I don't know that anybody that's just stopped can quite make it the whole way, but I think Evans, Pepto Joe, and Goodman, if they can go another 10 laps, they might be in position to make it the whole way.
So last stint for Evans, he went 30 laps. He's on 24 right now. So if we expect him to meet that, that puts him right about lap 100 with 40 to go. Now, can he do 40 laps in that last stint? We don't know. We have seen people do 40 laps. The last stint alone, a number of drivers. Crandon did 43, Crow did 45, Hayes did 45, Callisto did 42. Yeah. So a number of drivers did 40.
So if you make it to 100, you're well within range of making this thing. Well, I know Callisto just wiggled real bad coming off of turn 4. The stock car ace is gonna go by him, if not in turn 2, then down the back. Sure. Richie Hearn's getting interested.
Oh, look at Lord the wheel. You can see in the cockpit there as he was counter steering.
His right rear not happy. Not happy. Lionel Callisto right rear. That thing has got to be screaming mad. He's wiggling again. Richie Hearn has to be saying, "Golly, just stay up there and let me go." But I think that's it. I think Evans and Pepto Joe and these guys, they're going to go to lap 100 or thereabouts. They're going to stop and they're going to be done. Nobody at this point, by the way, Gary, should have any fresh left. So if there's a late caution,
I think if anyone fresh tires, it might be, isn't it Goodman? Oh, Callisto is just hanging on.
No, good. So the rule set here was 3 sets.
Yeah, hold on. 3 sets. 1 in the car, 2 in the pits.
Right. So Goodman would have used 1 set under that first caution. He saved a set by stopping early, but then he had to use it under that first caution. So under our only caution. So no tire advantage for anybody. Nobody's going to have anything left on pit road. A late restart is going to be very interesting. Come to that.
I'm going to have to check the info tab real quick and double check that. At least that's what I thought it was 3 sets. It could be wrong. Maybe it is 4 sets. Okay, it is 3 sets. Okay.
We're also running the New Hampshire oval setup.
Oh, interesting. We were running the iRacing Super Speedway setup in New Hampshire.
Well, and I think that's Mr. Rigney's way of trying to get some more tire wear out of these things. Matty Wagner coming back on the pit road. He's going to hit pit road. He's going to stop right at lap 100.
100, like coming to 101, yeah.
He was only 9 laps in, so that tells me he couldn't make it. Couldn't make it from where he was. He's going to stop and get some gas, and he's going to be good to the end. At least he should be. And still awaiting the final stops from Evans, Grandin, and the like. Now, Grandin is 13 laps short of Evans on tires.
17 laps into his stint, yep.
Pepto Joe's been out there the longest. He's 38 laps.
So we expect him in. He went only 22 on his last stint, but we expect him in any time, to be honest. 38's about is a good stint length, but there are people that went a little bit longer last time, so we'll see. Sometime in the next 10 laps for sure, Pepto Joe doing. Rigney and say hey, Lewis Hayes up to 5th.
Now what that tells me is Grandin's going to come in. He's going to get tires with about 20 to go, and he's going to try the Harry Gannett Darlington strategy. He's going to come in, put on tire, turn that thing rocket ship, and it's going to be the tortoise and the hare at the end, is what that tells me. Evans, though, still making laps. Him and Pepto Joe are basically committed now, run the thing dead, although I don't see how Pepto Joe can make any more than about 5 or 6 more laps. Not only his tires have to be about shot, but the fuel tank has got to be fairly empty as well.
Michael Goodman coming off a pit road.
Yes. Pepto Joe's going to hit pit road. So he's waved the white flag. He's going to pull that in that last pit stall.
There he is.
4 fresh Goodyears and a load of Sunoco fuel going to go into that machine.
And he's going to be flying on this last stint.
Yep, 37 laps. So remember, for those watching. But 10 or 15 is all you get from the good, and then you're kind of sliding around. So he's going to have minimal, maybe 20 laps of tire deg. Interesting to see what plays out here.
Sam Crow off pit road. Final stop.
Ryan Grandin has caught Greg Evans.
Yeah.
0.8. And that's interesting to me because Greg Evans is now entering the final phase of this tire run. He's probably got 10 laps or so left. Anticipate him pit road about lap 116. Ryan Grandin has...
Say hey, he's up to third with Rigney, up to fourth.
Ryan Grandin has
Go
13
ahead.
Well, what I'm getting at is Grandin, the longer you go here to take that final set of tires, the more you can abuse them when you put them on. Plus, you're going to have light. So the faster you can go. If you're going 20 laps and the good on the, you're always thinking, okay, I got to back it up just a little bit to save something. There is going to be zero.
There it is, Pepto Joe 175 for purple lap.
Yeah, he's going to be burning them down. But the number 3, you're going to see some ridiculous laps out of him. If indeed he has you're going to see some crazy lap times out of that 3 car because he's not going to have to worry about saving him.
And this might be another big lap for Pepto Joe. I think he was in a draft most of the way.
Watching the battle for the lead. Brandon now half a second.
31.5. 30.981. Very, very close to where he qualified.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to get while the getting's good. Don't baby those tires now because they're only going to be good once, and that's all you got.
So we're expecting the leader anytime in the next 10 laps or so. Richie Hearn on pit road. Yeah, Hearn going to tires. So he saved a set. And Grandin is there. He's to the bumper of Reagan, to the outside of Reagan now, going into 1. So he will clear Reagan, and now he's in direct contact with Greg Evans, winner of the last 3 straight races.
Grandin is a little bit faster, about, so let's call it 700ths on that last lap. So better part of a 10th of a second. He's closing him down. Grandin running the high line. The 7 of Greg Evans right around a white line on the bottom. You're going to see 2 differing philosophies through the front. Evans a little bit higher. He's kind of running on that middle line through there. Trying to save the tires a little bit. Brian Grandin takes the racing line. And he's there.
Yeah, he is. He's there.
Now, we don't know if he took tires or not, but he is 13 laps shorter on this run than Greg Evans. So did Grandin take tires? Evans calling the pit. So he's going to be coming in next time by. I believe I just heard him call. Pepto Joe is there looking to unlap himself. He is getting after it, brother.
And a whole group of cars right together.
Yep.
New tires. So they got to be careful when Evans coming off the banking onto pit road. Not to hit. Okay, everybody clear. Now Evans needs to do is just get down the pit road speed. I think he does it. So that set of cones there. Now all he needs to do is find his pit stall, which is actually one of the first ones on pit road, not down pit road, but as he approaches the line of stalls. He's one of the first ones right there. There he is. And let's see, does the car pop up? Yeah, he has a set of tires to get to the end. Also on pit road, Mike Rigney. Last stop for the host with the most. Let's see if he pops up, or is he just going fuel only? He pops up, so he has tires for this last stint. So Brian Grandin now coming to pit road. So he is not even going to 2 extra laps out there. He's going to react to the leader. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes is your leader now.
By a handy margin, 6.2 seconds, say, hey, Lewis Hayes. Actually, more than that. Because
see, Grandin didn't get to his stop. Oh, he had to move up a little bit. Just because it cost a little time. It's fuel only.
He does not have tires.
Fuel only.
Lights him up, and Grandin is away.
So Hayes is now the leader by 24 seconds over Pepto Joe. Hayes is 29 laps into his current stint. Can he do the remaining time? Probably not. But if he catches a yellow here, he'll be looking very good because most of the field is a lap down at the moment.
Now, Grandin came out right behind Evans. However, Evans on fresh tires. Brian Grandin did not take tires, and that's going to seal his race. Meanwhile, Sam Crow has moved up right behind.
Yep, there he is. And he's going to make a move to the inside right after the quad oval dog leg going into 1.
Yes, he is, and that's short work. New tires versus old. The old Crow, Sam, just drives right underneath Brian. Sam Crow effectively second here to Greg Evans. He's going to try to run him down. Now,
here goes
Sam's
Evans.
tire.
Evans around Hayes to get his lap back. So Evans now back on the lead lap.
He is indeed. I'm looking at the cars that haven't stopped yet. Michael Goodman, 102. Michael Goodman, 102.
Well, he did 41 his previous stint. Same thing for Pepto Joe. He led at 103. He went to 40 in his previous stint.
He did indeed. Now, the good on those tires are gone. They're 14 to 15 laps in. So they've already slowed down to what is normal race pace, about 32 seconds flat. Meanwhile, the car of Greg Evans, number 7, is flying. He was 31 flat the last time. So he's a second a lap quicker than Pepto Joe and Goodman. Is he gonna get there, or is he gonna run out of time?
118 of 140, so coming very quickly to 20 to go.
He is 6 seconds behind Pepto Joe. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes leads it. He's gonna have to stop now. Probably if he runs it by say, hey, Lewis Hayes is about 12 more. He might be able to make it to 30.
There's Evans around Wagner for position. Move Evans up to 4th now. I do want to give a shout out to Matt Wagner, finishing 2nd overall in the Dark Horse DW12 series. Gave a good run there at the end. Did all he could have done to get everything out of that car in that last Indy 500 there, the Dark Horse 500 on Sunday night, to try to do everything he could, but just ran out of time and just ran out of time and luck, I think, is really kind of what it boils down to, because the eventual series champion won that race.
Yeah, and I know Matt was disappointed with that result. Me and him and I and Mark the Watchman and say, hey, Lewis Hayes went together, trying to work that out. I was really trying hard to help Matty. Just a shame that
he brought that car from. He was a lap down at one point. He brought it back and finished 3rd there. He did everything he could have done. Just ran out of time and a little bit of luck. That's all it would have taken.
And he got back there kind of his own mistake. I mean, it was his own deal that got him a lap down. Let's be fair.
Say, hey, Lewis Hayes, your leader still, turning 32 nines. Now with less than 20 to go. He's 36 laps into his current stint. He probably has another 10 laps or so. He's dialed it in pretty close, but he's not gonna make it, I don't think.
I don't think so either. The tire gap is starting to manifest itself. Greg Evans has slowed down half a second off of his old pace. Now he's about 2 seconds behind Goodman and Pepto Joe. He was 9/10 a lap quicker that time. So, if this holds, he'll be there. Goodman and Pepto Joe are the next 2 cars on the track. He's
watching them.
Yeah, he's a second and a half behind Goodman, 2 seconds behind Pepto Joe. But the tire's going to hold out there. So lap 10 to 15 is where we see the tires equalize. Evans is starting his 11th lap. So he's going to run out of tires.
Well, watching from the back end of Michael Goodman, there's Big John coming off of pit road, I believe, for his final stop. Reset the field here with less than 20 to go. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is your leader. He's 38 laps into his current stint, went 45 last time. So we expect him to pit really any time between now and 45 laps into his current stint. Pepto Joe will inherit the lead. He's 21 laps into his current stint. We think he's good to go. Michael Goodman, who we're watching right now out of his back bumper at P4, Greg Evans. Goodman 22 laps into his current stint. We think he's good to go. Evans 11 laps into his stint. We know he's good to go. And he is looking to get one more position here. Rigney's in 5th, Wagner in 6th, Callisto 7th, Crow 8th, Grandin 9th, Hearn in 10th.
So the tire advantage is now full.
Something happened to Big John Von Voorellis. He is on the apron one more time.
Yeah, I don't know if he was pulling over to let those guys go or what, but he came out of the pit.
I don't know if he had a drive-through or something, maybe. I don't know.
It could be. Now,
here he is. Goodman is now up to Flanagan, and Evans is up to Goodman.
Here's the tricky part for Greg Evans. It's not just he's going to pass one car. He's going to have to pass Pepto Joe and Michael Goodman. They're doing the right thing. See how Pepto Joe's going high, Michael Goodman's denied.
Yep.
They're going to make it. They're going to make him go. They're going to make him go the long way around both of them. Both giving him the arrow.
Giving him the old arrow flash.
Well, but he's on superior tires, so that's kind of what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then did Goodman and Pepto Joe save anything here, knowing that?
Well, I don't think those two were racing each other very hard. And
they're racing now.
Now they are.
It's almost to their advantage though to do this. Right where they run side by side. One, there's not enough room for Greg Evans to get by him. The other thing is you start arrow washing him, use up his stuff maybe.
Arrow wash, that is definitely arrow wash. That is definitely Southern Indiana right there. But Evans around Pepto Joe, and now move Goodman up into what will eventually be the lead when Hayes pits. Hayes probably pitting in the next 3 laps or so.
How much has Greg Evans used up? 12 to go, coming to 11 to go. How much does he have left in those tires? Right, we know he abused them to get here, right on that white line. Golly, he's almost on the apron. Say Hey Lewis Hayes just called. He's coming into pit lane, 10 to go.
Yeah, so close. All he needed really was a caution to fall his way, and it would have been pretty good day for him, but it's going to fall down in the standings, but it's not indicative of performance. Led quite a few laps here in this last quarter of this race. This now hands the lead off to Goodman. And before the pass is done, well, the pass might be done here. Do want to remind where this is in points, though. Everybody in points, the top 4 are only separated by 7 points. That's real quick. That is Goodman, Callisto, Wagner, and Crow. There you see. We'll flash it on the screen real quick. We'll take it off. We'll review it after the race one more time. Also, before we don't get a chance to talk about it at all, want to remind people, if you've not done so already, please donate to the program. Now more than ever, we could use your donations as we are getting ready to start and move to a new channel. If you have not done so, the link is in the description.
Always appreciated, I might add. Greg Evans still working over Michael Goodman. He hasn't quite found the way. He went to the high side a couple laps ago. He's right around the bottom. Goodman, fabulous job of trying to shut the arrow off. Trying just any way he can to block off.
10 to go. 9 to go. Oh, Evans is going to send it to the inside.
He's not going to quite get there.
Maybe the next lap, though.
Maybe. I mean, he's doing everything. Both these guys are doing everything right. So Evans is just kind of probing, where does he want to go? Where is he going to get this move done? Michael Goodman is running exactly the line that he feels necessary to keep Evans behind him. Goodman's kind of splitting the difference, too. You see, he's not going right down to the... he's not running the top.
8 to go.
He's kind of running that second lane.
This run through the middle that he gets, though. Oof.
Yeah, he's doing everything right, and he's leaving open the option if Goodman gets a run one way or another. He's leaving open the option to throw the block.
Right in the middle, and I think he's saving that for closer to the end. He's really faster in the middle.
As time goes by, though, that tire advantage, and it's 8 laps, and let's not, excuse me, it's 11 laps, and that's not insignificant. But as the laps tick, that gets less and less and less. The longer Goodman can keep Evans behind him, the better it is for Michael Goodman. Evans going to take it to just kind of size him up, see if he can get the run to here. Michael Goodman comes off the bottom.
He actually pulls away a little bit that time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the way, or if Greg Evans is just kind of breathing it a little bit.
Oh, now he's going up into the gray.
Harry Gant and Richard Petty would have
Oh, gets it now. One. There's the run. There's the run. You see, it gets much closer to that back bumper of that Mustang.
Yeah.
Down to the white line this time, thinking about sticking the nose, and they're not going to quite be able to get there. Goodman holding him off. Now coming to 5 to go. We'll continue watching this battle. This is for the win right here.
You reckon these boys are planning this just to give us a good show, Gary? Because this is fun.
Whoa! Good runs in the center of the corner. Just no place to go.
Well, and so watch him. So watch Michael Goodman. He's not running the bottom, but he's not really running. Just hanging just enough over that seam to keep Evans from being able to drive the bottom. And he's running just high enough, keep just enough momentum off. He's running this absolutely perfectly. We don't know.
4 to go. No, yeah. If Evans needs Goodman to make a mistake on the bottom, just not be able to hold it down there, or he needs to pass him on the top the long way around.
Are we headed for another one of those patented Atlanta finishes?
Well, we might be, and this is just as good. Oh, there was a room there, but it's not there now. Close the door, coming to 3 to go.
It's so hard when you're that
2 races in a row that are finishing like this. These guys are working hard to keep Greg Evans at bay from winning his 4th straight race. Look at him on the bottom. He's going to get a good run coming off the corner. He's going to be able to get there. He's going to take a peek to the inside. Not going to do it. Coming to 2 to go. Tries to pack a little air underneath the rear spoiler, make the car a little loose. Not going to be able to get there. Not going to be able to do that. Coming to 2 to go through the quad oval area.
Goodman's doing a really good job, Gary, of backing Evans up. When they get to the middle...
This is a master class right now of just holding... I mean, he could probably, if he wanted to, use the chrome horn, but I don't think we're going to resort to that. Coming to the white flag. Right now down the backstretch. A lap and a half to go.
No, I don't think that's what these guys are about. They want to do it clean. Goodman's just doing a masterful job of backing up the beginning and the middle segments of the corner.
Here it is.
So Greg Evans
White flag.
Can't build that run. He's going to have to swing it to the high side. There he goes. He's going to have to swing it to the high side. There
He's trying to roll into it. He just can't right now. He's going to get a run. He's going to come down off the bank. He has to roll out of it a little bit. Otherwise, he was going to make contact. Now to the inside, protecting the inside is Goodman. Now they're going. He's got a wheel at the quarter, wheel at the door, coming off the corner.
Historically, the high side wins these battles. Here they come for the line.
And it is Goodman.
What an absolutely.
And we, you know what? We missed Rigney the whole time. Rigney was right there.
What an absolutely fabulous race. But I think that was the key. Michael Goodman was backing him up in the beginning and the middle of the corner, so he was able to get just enough runoff. And Greg Evans never could figure out how to use those tires his advantage. What an amazing run. And how about Mike Rigney sneaking in there? Had those two made one mistake, Mike Rigney was going to win that race.
Yeah, for sure.
What just an abs. I cannot get over how good the racing is in this series, Gary.
All right, let's get into the final stats here, final standings. And there we go, although I gotta report this to my dev. 33.072 miles per hour. No, it's not right.
It's not me racing.
Michael Goodman on the three-stopper. Everyone did the three-stopper, it looks like. Finished with 11 laps led, and right there at the very end, he's your winner. Greg Evans had a dominant portion of the race. He led 30 laps, finished second. Rigney with his first podium. We finally get to talk to the host with the most. He finishes third. Pepto Joe. Pepto Joe, as you see, he has the purple number next to his name there, so that's a new thing. So he had carried over that purple lap, led 36 laps, tied with Lionel Callisto, I believe, for the most laps led, finishes fourth. Fifth is Sam Crow, Richie Hearn sixth, Lionel Callisto seventh. Say Hey Lewis Hayes finishes eighth. He came within 10 laps of possibly getting the win here, but had to come in for a little fuel. Grandin was up at the front all day, and tire strategy just kind of took him out of the win there at the end, but finishes with the top 10. And Idriani, in their first start in the league, finishes with a top 10. Moving on, Reagan is 11th. Big John is 12th. Matt Wagner, 13th. Guyon is 14th. And Rick D, unfortunately, with that incident midway through the race at lap 44 or so, is 15th. And the other big number, by the way, let's bring this back to everyone's attention, though. If we get this off the one caution, 4 laps.
Yeah, not bad. I don't know what the percentage is, but that's
we'll change the math here. Next time I'll have the Excel spreadsheet and Dropbox, so I'll actually have it on this computer. All right, and let's we got Rigney on the screen already, so we do want to bring him in here if he's not available. Okay, so he's not available at the moment. I think he will come back. He might be updating the points. We do want to check the points.
97.1% green. Not a bad afternoon in Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't think the points have been updated, but let's bring in Evans first, and I don't see Evans either. So I don't know if everyone's just tired or what. So we'll bring in Mike Goodman, our winner.
Now I want to talk to that guy.
I think we all want to talk with him. There we go. All right, we're going to bring him up in here. Michael Goodman got you in the booth with the gang here. Evans and Rigney haven't checked in yet, so we're just going to bring you up now. Wow, what a battle there at the end, and strategically placing your car in the right spot at all the right moments, and holding off Evans from getting 4 wins in a row, breaking the streak, and you bring it home today for another win in the series. Congratulations.
Thanks, Gary. Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, those 10 laps. I didn't think. I did. I was looking at the interval and stuff like that, and he got up there super quick, and I don't know why he hung out back there. I think. I don't know. I'm not a mind reader or whatnot, but I know I was just trying to hit my marks and whatnot. And on that last lap, I went into turn 1 a little too hard because I did not want to push up in front of him like that. Because my 3, 4, or 5 prior laps, I was able to get a straight arrow towards straight, and that would keep him behind me. But I was able to hold him off. I don't know if he. I think he could have passed me on the back stretch, but he didn't. But again, just speculation. And I will take the win, though.
Go ahead, Merv.
What a masterclass in running the exact line where the car on the tires couldn't use his advantage. What part of the corner was most key for you? Was the beginning? Was it the middle, or was the exit?
No, it was on the exit of both turns. In turn 1, on used tires, as you saw in the last 5 laps, I was on the low line. And then when I would come off of turn 2, you were almost on the backstretch, and you would just floor it, and you would get such a nice run going straight. And coming off turn 4, if I was to get the line coming off the bottom of turn 4, you just floor the gas, and the car just automatically rotates and gets just a wicked run coming off the turn without any slipping and sliding and whatnot. So that was, something that I learned in the practice that I've been doing this week.
Well, practice paid off, that's for sure. Second win of the season. Points are out. You now have a 10-point lead over Lionel Callisto in the championship. It is you, Callisto, Crow now in the top 3. Matt Wagner is 4th, and Pepto Joe is 5th. Still quite a ways to go. We have now, we got Kansas coming up next. Thoughts on Kansas as the championship moves on to another week?
I'm kind of hoping that Kansas was like runs like Chicagoland. I won there.
Yep.
I know how to save fuel. I know how to comfortably get around the track. So I'm hoping that that's closer to Chicago. But as far as the points lead goes, being up 10 points, to be honest with you, I wish I was down 30 points because this is a long stretch. I think it's 8 weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot, I could use a week break, in between here and there.
You need to send the bribe to Rigney. He might need to schedule in an off week here and there. But nevertheless, the run is on, the championship is on, the battle is on. Congratulations! Shout outs, friend, family. Anyone you want to say hi to before we let you go, so you can go celebrate?
Again, just the usuals. Gary, Mark and Gary, you guys, for doing a great job with the broadcasts. I enjoy watching them. Mike Rigney for running the league and picking the right guys to race. And to all the competitors that show up week in and week out. And even when they don't show up week in and week out, they still show up and they race in a professional manner.
Agreed. We very much love the way that the everyone races here, everyone's racecraft. So congratulations, second win of the season. Your points leader by 10 points, Michael Goodman.
Thanks again, guys. You have a great night.
You do. All right. It's about time let's bring him up here. It's about time this guy gets a podium and we can finally bring him up into the booth and talk to him legit-wise and all. Mike Rigney, P3, and really we were watching the battle from Evan's point of view from his in-car. We never really saw you sneak into the picture there at the end, and then when we cut to the cameras after the finish, we're like, oh, Rigney was there too. Way to bring your car back after obviously saving that last set of tires. Definitely paid off there at the end, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I knew that you were going to have to double stint a set of tires. I didn't know when everybody would do it. That was the big question. Do you do it on the first caution right there, or do you wait till later in the race? And yeah, I guess I made the right call. I did it early in the race and double stinted my first set and paid off in the end. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys missed me in third. You don't pay attention to me. I would rather watch those guys up front race. I was having more fun in third watching Goodman and Evans go at it than anything.
Yeah, you were kind of almost from the point of view because we were watching from the hood of Evans' car. You were just kind of watching beyond that, behind a little bit more behind us, behind his trunk there. But Goodman was just a great battle to watch. He was just putting his car strategically every place it needed to be to win that race. But it's good to finally see you get up there and get on the podium. It's about time. I know you've been kind of tying up your time with setting up the league and getting organized and getting the drivers in and everything, but it's got to feel good to finally get a podium in your own league, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm racing with, well, you know who I'm racing with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the best on the internet. I mean, it's all the Lionheart guys and stock car guys that I know that I've raced with over the years. You know, we've talked about who they are. They're just as good stock car drivers as my Indy car drivers are Indy car drivers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just talent from first to last. And you know, I've said this in Lionheart before. Anybody on the racing grid has a shot at winning the race. The talent is there, so it just pays off. You know, I mean, I like to see Goodman up there and won the race because he did a strategy that nobody else did. What was it, lap 22 that he pitted on?
Yeah,
and he came out, and when I saw him up front, I was clapping. I was like, that was the call right there, buddy.
Well, and it wasn't really a smooth pit stop for him either at 22. I think he missed his marks and had to reset a couple times. They were like, uh-oh, you know, this can't be good. And then we figured out it would cost him a lot of time. And then sure enough, right there at the end, taking last pit stops, him and Pepto Joe and Crow were all like kind of almost right together, bang, bang, bang. And then we saw Lewis he got within 10 laps of winning this thing just on fuel mileage.
Yes, he did. Yes,
and
he did.
All he needed was a caution to fall at the right spot, and he would have been in this thing. But to see him kind of come back up, to see Goodman come back up after having that pit stop at 22, but even having issues at 22, it was a good run for him, and I'm glad to finally see some sunshine head your way. So congratulations. Any friends, family, shout outs, sponsors, any teammates you want to say hi to, go right ahead.
No, the only people I need to thank are you and Mark, obviously, for broadcasting my league's races the way that you're doing it. An awesome job. And thanks for, my members, everybody that shows up to race. I don't think anybody in the league is not having fun. And that's what I wanted. That's the point of the ISRA, is to remember why we all race online, is to have fun with your friends. And that's exactly what we're doing. And so thank you to all the members that show up. Thank you, Gary, Mark, and for the quality job that you guys do every week. I applaud you all. Thank you.
Well, our pleasure. Go ahead, Mark.
You're more than welcome, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound good.
That's all your fault.
That I can hear you. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you can get some use out of it.
You had the best seat in the house. I got to ask though, was there any thought to laying off there and thinking, okay, I've got third in the bag. these guys are obviously, there's going to be the patented Atlanta outside run on the inside lane coming to the line. Any thought that them guys might get in each other a little bit and you might sneak past them, or were you content to run through?
The lap before, on the white flag lap off of 4, I had the slightest of a run. But I kind of decided not to push it. Cause I'm going to use the wrong word, but how bad would it suck that the guy running the league gets in there, punts 1 and 2 out of the way to win the race? So
No.
I was content to stay right there in third and just put on a good show and make sure everybody had fun at the end. And I think we did that. I think that's exactly what we did.
Well, that was one of the best races I've ever seen, man. So enjoy it,
very
enjoy the
entertaining.
podium, and thanks again, Mike.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, P3 for the host with the most. We'll see you at Kansas.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's bring up Evans here. Greg Evans. Hey, Greg, got you in the booth. Well, the streak stops at 3, but still a P2 and a podium. That run still continues to be a streak. But talk about the final 10 laps there, trying to get around Goodman. He just put his car, he made it extra wide, didn't he?
Yeah, he was able to kind of keep me from really getting a run. I couldn't really be aggressive getting in because I didn't want to get in the back of him, but then he was able to get back to the throttle pretty quickly. So and like I said, just the aero block and everything, just the car just got really tight once I got to him. And so about the last 6 or 7 laps, I just tried to ride and try to figure out what was going to be the best way to be able to get a run. And we had a good run off too, but I know he kind of slipped there a little bit, and I didn't want to plow him in the back. That's not the way I want to do it. So just tried to ride into 3 and 4, take the best shot I had, and just came up just a little bit short.
Yeah, I think Murph.
Any thoughts to go into the high side sooner? We saw you make that run coming to the line and came up about half a hood short. Any thoughts to go into that sooner, or were the tires just not there anymore?
I really felt like running the bottom was the best way to save the tires. I was able to run like a groove lower in most cases than the 28 was. So I didn't really feel like I was getting blocked that much. The car just got a little bit tight, but I felt like if I tried to ride the top too much, then it would wear the tires out, because in that first run when we didn't take tires, the right front tire and the right rear, they were gone after like the first 20 laps of that last run. So just felt like running the bottom and trying to just keep pace and save a little bit when I could was probably the best bet. Looking back, maybe I should have went to the top just a little bit sooner. But you've seen so many races here at Atlanta where somebody just tried to take that last ditch effort on the last lap and it pays off. And that was kind of my thought, but just like I said, I think it was like 3/10 short, maybe. I know I had a run coming off forward, but I think if I'd have had about another 200 foot, I might have got him.
Well, you're now 9th in the top 10 in the standings and continue to climb. Next up is Kansas. Thoughts on moving to Kansas here, as we're just kind of in the middle of the season, cruising on here to the end?
Yeah, I usually I think I'll do good at Kansas. I'm not 100% sure. But just trying to keep knocking this thing down a little bit at a time. Top 10s or top 5s, probably top 3s are going to have to be a consistent thing to even have a chance at a championship, because I kind of got started here late, but we'll do the best we can and see how it plays out.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. Freightliner, Velocity Truck Centers, Sim Magic, Sim Labs, iRacing, iFlag, and you guys for hosting, and Mike Rigney for putting on the show.
Well, no problem. Congratulations on getting onto the podium here for P2. The one streak remains the same. You got that podium streak going, but the win streak stops at 3. Nevertheless, good run. I'm sure you had a fun time, and we will catch you at the next race in Kansas.
Sounds good, guys. Y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next week at Kansas.
You guys take care. All right. Final thoughts here before we kind of move on.
Yeah, just again, what a masterclass in denying the faster car what he wanted to do by Michael Goodman.
Yeah.
He wasn't running the bottom, but he wasn't running the top quite either. He split the difference, and he was able to get just enough of an exit, as he said, to deny the faster car behind him the run that he needed to draw alongside. Greg Evans alluded to it. He ran the high side. You're going to burn the tires up a little bit quicker. That's why he didn't go to it sooner. But just an absolute masterclass by Michael Goodman. And once again, how impressive is it that you see two guys race that close lap after lap after lap after lap and not a single point of contact?
Yeah.
And that's what so impresses me week in and week out about this series. A lot of stock car guys that you see that run around on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and whatever else, they seem to enjoy the contact.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are showing us every week that you don't have to run over each other to have a great race. And what we saw tonight was just one more example of how really, really awesome a stock car race can be without a single piece of sheet metal being bent. So once again, kudos to Greg Evans, kudos to Michael Goodman. Mike Rigney with the third place. Not a glove laid, a fabulous race. Cannot wait to come back and see it again next week.
All right, now we have reached the halfway point of the season. Round 7 is Atlanta. We're 14 rounds, so starting off the second half of the season will be Kansas. Then we go on to Bristol, then to Michigan, and then to Vegas, Nashville, Homestead, and then we're going to finish up with the real wild card, as they always call it, at Talladega. But to remind you, two things. Donate. If you have not done so already, please go to our GoFundMe link in the description and donate to our 2024 broadcast fund. Now, as we told you that we are kind of going in a new direction, we'll be setting up our own new channel. Everything that comes with it requires a little bit of money in order to do so. If you can contribute anything, if you haven't done so already, please do so. Now, more than ever, we could really use your donation if you have not donated already. And if you donated already, you got a little bit more and donate again. We certainly would appreciate it. So the other thing we want to talk to you about is, again, next week. This is the last ISRA Xfinity race. Actually, the last ISRA race on this channel that we will have. So next week, the race will be broadcasted on FTN. Right there in your graphic there, FTN. Just search it up on the search bar in YouTube, just FTN Broadcasting or FTN iRacing. Either way, you'll find it. You'll find that logo. Click on it, subscribe to their page, ring the bell. And then you'll also see that there'll be 3 races that they've already scheduled for us in their upcoming events. Make sure to hit the notify me on those as well, so you'll be reminded of when those are popping up. And so that's starting on FTN next week. Same time, same start time, same broadcast crew, same graphics. Everything will be the same, except it'll be on FTN. All the instructions on what to do to find FTN are in the description. Just all you have to do is follow. If you have any questions and you're a member of the ISRA Discord, just DM me or Mark, and we'll lead you in the right direction. But that's next week, starting next week at Kansas, ISRA on FTN Broadcasting, and that will be that way for the remainder of the season. And that is going to do it here at Atlanta. Once again, your podium for tonight is Michael Goodman with the second win, holding off a hard-charging Greg Evans and Mike Rigney, who we really never watched, but he was right behind that train, and, man, was it a close one at the end. Looking at the margins of victory, Rigney was only 0.161 off the lead there. So, I mean, a blink of an eye, and he would have been in that battle. So, probably one of the closest 1-2-3 finishes we've seen in league history outside of a plate track. So great racing, very entertaining. Join us again next week for round 8 of the ISRA Xfinity Series as the teams and drivers head to Kansas Speedway. Coverage begins around 9:35 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's 9:35 p.m. Eastern. And as always, the correct time in your area, you can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com/@FTN Broadcasting. @FTN Broadcasting. That's all you need to know, and you'll be reminded. Track cams today provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Thank you for Whiplash Sim Cams for being the official track pack camera provider for all of our coverage here of the ISRA. So to learn more about Whiplash, follow them on Twitter or follow the link to their page and like them on Facebook. And both of those are in the description. So that's going to really do it. Wrap it up with here for myself and the Murph. For everyone here at ISRA, I'm Gary Gotcha saying all good night and thanks for watching. And to all our men and women serving in the military and its first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here next week on FTN at Kansas for the next race of the ISRA Xfinity Series. Good night. Thanks for joining us.